Welcome back to the channel. My name is Brad, this is Supercoach Pro. Today's video I am doing the round 17 team review. As you can see here, I scored 2,539 for the week, which was only top 5%. There was a lot of big scores going into like that 2-8 sort of territory. I lost 66 spots, which is not too bad. I wanted to climb, however, so I'm at season rank of 887. And hopefully I just stay in that top 1k because there's some pretty big scores out there, and I do have two reasons why I didn't score as high this week. So get stuck into the team and I can sort of break down what happened and what went wrong and what went right. So I'll just expand my screen, get rid of me, and let's do it. So I won 4 out of 4 league matches, which is irrelevant to you guys, but pretty good for me anyway, for my cash league in particular. So starting off, I just want to say I changed my vice captain and captain choice really late in the piece. At 5 p.m. on Friday, the teams came out, and I noticed that Zach Smith from Gold Coast wasn't named on that extended bench. So I thought that it'd give Mumford more tap outs to advantage to the likes of Josh Kelly. Then I saw the game, and it just looked so windy, and he couldn't get the ball as much. So that's why I initially had the VC on Laird in my preview video, and then last minute I changed to Kelly because I thought he might have a really big ceiling in this game, but apparently not. And then with Grundy, I do apologise because I was saying Captain McRae, but Grundy, I noticed Nankervis wasn't even named on the Friday 5 p.m. team sheet. So yeah, a bit of a last minute change, but that was purely on the fact that I thought Laird wouldn't have a big ceiling compared to Josh Kelly against Gold Coast. So last minute change. So okay, let's get stuck into it. Laird was decent again, 123, which would have made it super awkward because I probably would have kept that 123 as my captain score and Whitfield it. So I was sort of glad I went for something with a better ceiling, but obviously it did not pay off for the Josh Kelly. I should have went Steele. Callum Mills, 127, you would take that. He had 31 touches, I'm pretty sure, and it was all in the back half. It was 64% in the back half at 71% efficiency, so that's really good for him. So I'm really happy with Mills' pick. Stewart, he's so reliable again. He's only had really one or two bad scores and just 127. Still think he gets pretty underscaled in a lot of his rounds. I think DR's on me with this one as well, for sure. Ridley, I think he's had a really solid month now, 120. He's taken the kickouts when Heppel especially isn't playing. So Heppel out of the side this week. Hopefully he doesn't come out back into the side next week because that would really help Ridley's score when Heppel doesn't play at halfback. Whitfield, he got concussed. He kicked a goal in that second quarter and then came off, and then looks like he'll miss this week and possibly next week because their 12-day break, I think, goes from the Thursday night game that they play, or whatever it is, and then into a Friday game or something like that, is what I've been told. So he might miss 2 weeks, and I don't really want to field Bianco, so I might have some sort of trade plan, which I'll go through with you guys in a second. Jaden Short, 129, he was fantastic again. He used the ball really well, and because there's no Vlosten down back, no Bolter, no Broad, and in particular no Hooley, he's taken all the kick-outs back there in Richmond lineup. There's no backs. They're missing 4 key backs, so he's going to be the main user out there, and they'll be looking for him to do the 1-2 and kick it to the wing. So he's super reliable. He should probably average about 110 from here on out, you'd think. Jones is sort of my Whipole man as well in the back line, but not that I would ever Whipole Bianco's score. He just doesn't score high enough. And he was really poor. He turned the ball over, so I wouldn't be surprised if Bianco gets dropped. Steele, fantastic again. I didn't get to see much of this match, but I think he kicked 2 goals in that game, had 32 times, and he's an absolute jet. And I think we should start vice-captaining him more often. I think he's got like a 5-round average of like about 140 or something like that. So he's one I'm probably looking to VC from now on because I think he's got a better ceiling than any of my other midfielders. McRae is super consistent. You wouldn't be mad if you captain this bloke. 116 in a loss is something you'll take every day of the week. Merritt again, he's just unbelievable. 143, he had it 35 times at 80% efficiency, so that's really solid for him again. This man is so underrated, Sammy Walsh, 158. I don't have the stats of what he did, but just so consistent, and I'll definitely be starting this guy next year along with Steele for sure. Oliver, 118, looked a little bit better than what he has the last couple of weeks, that's for sure. Looked a bit more hungry too, just to sort of accumulate the pill. I think he had about 31 times, so that's a lot better for him. But he only went at 77% efficiency, so that's why his score isn't as high as those other guys. Kelly, 109. He has quarters where he plays one really good quarter and then 3 average a lot of the time, which sort of evens itself out to this 107 average that he's doing this year. So, yeah, he's not the 600k player I started off the season with. He's not in that top 10, I don't think, of midfielders, that's for sure. Brayshaw got scaled up. He was pretty lucky. He was doing pretty poor. I think he scaled up 10 points at the end of the game. He was on 81, went to 91. You would take that over with Taranto, who scored about 60 this week. This was the risky one. I wanted to use Bramble's 120, and I wasn't sure if Pendlebury would go big against Richmond. And he's got the least average out of all my midfielders, so I took the risk, put Pendles on the bench, and put McRae there because he was playing the VFL game, which I think he might come back into contention of the Pies lineup if they want him in. He had it, I think, 22 times in the VFL against Richmond, and him and Sai looked really good in the VFL match. So hopefully we see McRae back in, but hopefully not if you're using him as your loophole each week. Bramble, we should probably talk about. I noticed he was playing 92% in the back line. A lot of half back, doing the 1-2, very Jaden Short-like, the way he played. But yeah, he was everywhere. I think he went about 85% efficiency as well. So I did not see this coming from a guy like Bramble. Too late to grab him now at 220k, unless you really needed a really decent M9. But yeah, I just don't think you'll be pulling these scores every week because, like Weightman, 114 last week and 28 this week. So I don't trust rookie scoring at all. Could be his highest for the week. So we move on. Grundy, 140. He was on 33 at half time. He was getting towed up by Chol. And this is the reason why I thought he would go bigger than 140 is because we only rucked Chol. We had no support in anyone else helping him out around the grounds, apart from Marlon Pickett, who's like 6 foot tall against Grundy. So, yeah, he's lucky he had 110 half and about a 60-point last quarter because he kicked the goal, contested mark in the goal square. So it was weird going for Grundy. It was also kind of going for Richmond because obviously I support him, but going for Grundy at the same time in that game was super weird. But yeah, 140 from a captain you'll take. Hickey, 111. Obviously, this is my pod ruckman. I think he's in about 8% size as opposed to Gawn, and he's won against Gawn the last 2 weeks in a row now by about 20 odd points all up. So you'll take that as a pod ruckman. I think this time of year you sort of have to have someone different, especially if you want to chase that top 1K and just have a good rank for the end of the year. You've got to have a few pods, hence the Norton pick that didn't pay off so far. Anyway, Zeeble 120, him and Hall just fed it to each other all night in the wet too, so efficient. Yeah, I really like this pick too. Hall's only owned by 15%, and they just kick it to each other. They always look for each other. Hall comes up to the wing a bit more and tries to look for the 1-2 a lot. And Zeeble obviously is your fullback, takes most of the kick-ins, but when Zeeble doesn't, Hall does, and vice versa. So, yeah, they're excellent picks. I don't know next year if I'd actually start them in the back line. But yeah, we'll see how we go for next year anyway. Martin, 74, pretty average. As a Tiger supporter, I reckon he has an injury because he just doesn't look right. I watched all our games this year, which I do every year anyway, and there's something about him. They reckon it was his foot at the start of the year, and he definitely just doesn't have that explosion anymore. Yeah, and I just don't think on that same note that Bolton is quite there either. And there's something up with those two that's not going to come out until the end of the season. I reckon they'll be going off season surgery. I think what hurts Martin mostly is Richmond's mids aren't there as well, so there's no Prestia, Shane Edwards, Nankervis, and Lambert to feed Martin the ball. So that's why he's a little bit more below average. So 8 of their best 22 out there. Doesn't really help Martin. So anyway, bit of a Richmond rant to be honest, but 78 to Green. He was on 85 at the end of the game and got 7 points taken off him for whatever reason. So that's a bit of a dog move by Champion Data, but 78 in the forward line, you'd probably take that, especially at his price. 70 from Hawkins, he got belted by Weightman, I think it was, Sam Weightman, just towed him up, even though Hawkins is probably twice his size and just literally looks like Tarzan and plays like Jane. He's just so annoying. I'm not going to pick key forwards next year unless they have the role of a Green where they play midfield when they're getting beat. And this is what backfired. So last week I decided to go Norton over Isaac Smith, over those sort of 440k players. Stringer as well was at that price. And in hindsight, Stringer or Isaac Smith would have actually been the best 2 players to pick. Instead, I wanted a super pod. Norton got concussed last week. I was like, oh yeah, I'll field Weightman, 28. The previous week he had 5 goals, 5 goals 3 or something like that. Absolutely towed up the game. Had 114 Supercoach points. Plays Sydney. I thought he should at least score 60, 70. I wasn't being too unrealistic because his season average even before the 28 was 68, so it would have been about 70 something. And then yeah, it just comes out with a 28. So that's what hurt me this week was the fact that I had to field Whitfield, who was concussed out, 32. And a 28 here, so 50 points. And if I had have had an extra 150 points on field, say 2 primos, I would have had that 2-7 spot. I probably would have moved up in the rankings, and I would have been okay. So my computer's a bit slow with Supercoach tonight, hence the Super Lates video. And then we have the Thursday game apparently in 2 days. So I want to look at the ranking points, but it's not seeming to do that at the moment. So, yeah, that's where I went wrong, just with those 2 players. And I don't want to make excuses, but that's all that really happened to my team this week. It's been fully primo for about 3 or 4 weeks now, and I'm just not getting rewarded for having a fully primo side earlier than most teams. So I think that's what's really annoying me. I'm not running rookies like a lot of other people, but they're still outscoring me because of injuries. Anyway, that's enough of the video. Supercoach doesn't want to work tonight, and sorry for the late one, but Supercoach only just uploaded about 20 minutes ago. Alright, peace out guys. I'll catch you on the Thursday night video before the game. See ya.